beneath the fortress. Nobody came forward. Why? He doesn't want to be known. He's trying to hide his hasanat. So he made a second announcement when he gathered all of the personnel, and he said to them, I am asking you in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and by the right that I have over you as your Muslim general, that you make yourself known. Still nobody came forward, but Maslama realized now that Allah's name has been used, he has to make himself known. So what did he do? He waited until the sun set, and until it was the darkest part of the night, and then he went to the guards of Maslama, and he said, can you tell him that I am outside? And I'm willing to meet him. The guards went into Maslama, they said, the man you're looking for, the hero of last night, he's here. And he's willing to meet you on 3 conditions. Condition number 1, don't ask about my name. Condition number 2, you don't give me any gifts. Condition number 3, you let me go away straight away. He said, bring him in. He comes into the court of Maslama ibn Abdul Malik, and he said to Maslama, this is a member of the infantry, a normal warrior. And he said to the general, ittaqillah ya Maslama. Fear Allah, Maslama. Akhrajtani fa ahrajtani thumma dhahab. You've made things awkward for me by sending me out. And then he left. I'm trying to hide my deeds. I want Allah to accept me. And you want to expose my identity? Why? So Maslama, when he was making dua, always for the rest of his life, he would say, Allahumma ahshurni ma'a sahibin naqb. Oh Allah, resurrect me on the day of judgment with the man who burrowed beneath the fortress. Allahu Akbar. This was a man, again, who didn't wait for instruction, but assumed individual responsibility. There is an extermination of an Ghazan people happening there, as an example. What is my duty in light of all of this? What is my responsibility? These are positive examples. Let me share with you a not so positive example of true irresponsibility that costed a woman by the name of Catherine Genovese her life. This was an event that took place in New York in the year 1964 on the 13th of March. A woman by the name of Catherine Genovese in her early 20s was making her way home after a long day at work. And she arrives at the door of her apartment complex only to be greeted by a man later identified as Mosley Winston or Winston Mosley. And he stabbed her to death. The equally tragic thing about this story is that in the aftermath of the attack, it came to light that there were people in the apartment complex who not only heard her screaming for help and urging for someone to save her or to minimally call 911, there were people who even saw this happening to her and nobody came down to offer her a helping hand. How come? Because each one of them was mimicking the exact same response. It's none of my business. Somebody else will do it. I don't want to get involved. This is a legally complicated situation. And I've got mouths to feed and the rest of it. In other words, this event captures the essence of what we are talking about, irresponsible behavior, and it also caught the attention of psychologists. What happened? How did this happen? How was this poor woman left to die in this way? And they began to investigate, and they came across, or they coined a term known as the bystander effect. Have you heard of it? The bystander effect. To try to understand why these people behaved in this way, in this very irresponsible and cowardly way. And the bystander effect is essentially the idea that because of the presence of other onlookers, there is a diffusion of responsibility. Each arguing that somebody else will deal with it. Therefore making you a bystander. A bystander. So you see, when we talk about mas'uliyah, responsibility, irresponsibility, we're not just talking about an abstract notion or, stories and We're talking about something that can cost lives, that can conquer armies, that can cost you wars, that can cost you your family, that can bring you back a family, that can find you a job, that can lose you a job, that can give you Jannah, that can take us to hell. We're talking about a real concept here. But here is what is even more real. Every day, my brother, my sister, you and I are somehow, at one level or another, guilty of the bystander effect. Let's be honest. Hey, look, we're not perfect, beginning with the person speaking with you. We all exhibit the bystander effect, between brackets, irresponsible behavior from time to time. Let me give you some examples. When you have, for example, a sheikh or a scholar or an imam who enjoys all the perks of having these titles, doors opening up, collaborations and sponsorships and money thrown at you, expensive bisht, imama, whatever it may be, praise, entourage, cars. But the same individual is not behaving like a scholar or an imam or a sheikh or a mufti by evading the topics that the ummah requires of him, by only choosing those topics that are comfortable, by enjoining what is good but not forbidding what is evil, talking about the aspects that are pleasing to the audience, not the topics that will ruffle their feathers, where politics may never come into his discourse. When we make dua for the people of Gaza, as though it's an abstract enemy that has killed them. Ya Rabbi, save the people of Gaza from their harm that they are experiencing. Who's giving them their harm? Who's killing them? An alien. Tell us who is killing them. Speak. You have that title for a reason. Otherwise, you are behaving irresponsibly. This is the bystander effect. When you have da'wah agencies, let's be real, and this will upset some. I don't think we should care at this point. Sarahatan. Da'wah agencies, inshallah, they have all of the right ideas in mind. But our pristine events will give you the Porsches, and we will drive you in the Mercs, and you come with us in the range. And right, look at the theater that we provide for you. Look at the drinks we offer him, and look at the caviar. And this is our sheikh and his talks. What have you reduced da'wah to? What message are you sending to the world? And for what? We show people our barbecues, and we show them our food, and we show them our drink, and we show them our cars. They are saying to us there in the Middle East, we see your delicacies and your enjoyments. Won't you not fear Allah for just a moment? Will you not pause it? And it's even more distasteful and spineless when it comes from a so-called person of knowledge who accepts all of this. And even if he accepts it, ya akhi, this is a weakness some of us may have. Why show it to the world? Hide the fact that you've been given a business class treatment. Hide it. Why do I need to see you sat in your lounge? Why do I need to see you devouring your caviar and your expensive drinks? Why? Now, at the time of famine, this is su'u adab, qillat adab. This is bad manners, to say the very least. At best, it is bad manners, and at worst, it is irresponsible behavior. From those who created this environment, the agencies, or those who are accepting it, worse still, those who are flaunting it to others, showing it to the world. That's the bystander effect. That's irresponsible behavior. When you have a young man or a young woman who leaves his bed untidy and his room as though a bomb had just hit it, because he knows that mum is going to come and clean up. Though you know that mum is experiencing a throbbing back now with her old age, and diabetes is only getting worse. That is the bystander effect. That is irresponsibility, my young brother, my young sister. Or a young man or a young woman who pummels on their plate more food than they can eat, only to throw away 9/10 of it in the bin at a time when you know that there is famine across the world. This is irresponsible behavior. And then when you finish your food, you put the dishes in the sink, and you walk away, or you leave the dishes in your room because you know a parent will come, the elderly parent, and pick up and clean up after you. This is the bystander effect. And this is irresponsible behavior, and it shows how you not only see your dunya, but how you see your deen as well. That's not the behavior of a responsible Muslim. When there is a brother, okay, he is struggling financially, costs are rising, I appreciate that. But he insists that his wife has to work. Naam, I agree, in some cases, perhaps more often than not today, there needs to be a dual income. I appreciate that. May Allah reward our sisters, our womenfolk who assist in these matters. May Allah bless you. I know this is a reality. But when you have a young man who's perfectly fit, perfectly strong, perfectly able, and perfectly qualified, if not, he should be, and to go and learn, take a course, doesn't do that. He wants his wife to work because he wants his evening to watch the boxing, or the tennis, or the football, or the Netflix. Not talking about someone who's doing his best and struggling. That's dunya, that affects us. He doesn't want to venture out, doesn't want to relocate, doesn't want to move out of mom and dad's house, but he wants his wife to work. This is the bystander effect, and this is irresponsible behavior. This is manhood at its worst. But then our sisters as well, they're also guilty, let's be honest. A sister of ours who may now crumble because she's had her second child. Now we appreciate child rearing is one of the most difficult aspects of life. We appreciate that. But does that mean that if dad does not become now a full-time mummy and takes on 50% of the chores with the children, then somehow you cannot function and everything has to come crumbling down? And he's not allowed to have now a social life. He cannot see his family or friends. He cannot do anything because we have another child. I take one, he takes one. Yes, there is difficulty in raising children. But Allah has blessed us with amenities today that we didn't have in the past, dishwashers and washing machines in their lives. This is irresponsible behavior in many cases. A young man or a young woman who wakes up midday, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And if it wasn't for salah, they'd continue 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. That's if they wake up for salah. And they don't go downstairs to see, Mom, do you need help in the house? La. Because another 2 hours needed for the makeup tutorials. Make sure that we are up to date with everything happening. Then we may see what's happening downstairs. Bystander effect, irresponsible behavior. And we now know how the Quran speaks about responsibility and irresponsibility. Why is it that we walk through the corridors of our homes again and again and again, and we can see that there is a light bulb that's burnt, but not one of us as siblings or young men or think about reaching out to change that bulb? Why? Because dad will do it. Dad will do it. Manish. Mom, dad go shopping. And not once has it occurred to me as Ali to say, let me come with you. The best I do is carry the bags when they arrive back home. Take them to the kitchen. No, why not? I say, I come with you. I do the shopping on your behalf. Here's my card. Occasionally, I pay for the shopping this evening. How is it that when my father's guests come to my home, my father's guests come to his home, and I'm there just lounging in my room, waiting there for him to pour the tea and to feed his guests. And there's a young man watching UFC fights and top 10 knockouts, right, in one world upstairs in my room. You have guests downstairs. Go and honor your father and honor his guests. Allow him to sit like a king, the king that he is in your life. Why is it that some of your parents, they call me my brothers, and they say to me, can you tell my son, now that he's going to visit back home, to get in touch with his aunties and uncles because he doesn't want to do it? Where is the responsibility of a man and a woman who feels duty and responsibility in his or her lives? Where is it? Venture out. Assume personal responsibility. Your salah. Why is it that you now, mashallah, with your beautiful, well-kept beard, sister, mashallah, now you're hitting 5'6", 5'7" now, mashallah, in height, and you're a full-grown woman, and you're still waiting for mom and dad to wake you up for salah. This is inappropriate. Some brothers who are delaying marriage, look, each to their own. People marry at different times. But sometimes the only reason why he is delaying marriage, sometimes, It's because of irresponsibility. He doesn't want the responsibility of financing a home, of caring for a woman, of taking care of children. Though he may be in need of marriage from a physical perspective, he's not too sure if it's the time. Why? Because he's still a young boy at heart. These are some examples of what irresponsible behavior looks like and how we can be guilty of the bystander effect that we spoke about earlier. Therefore, responsibility, duty, my brothers, my sisters, it's about choosing your religion over your dunya if there is a tension. That's responsibility. Responsibility is about insisting to be the upper giving hand as opposed to the lower receiving hand. That's responsibility. Responsibility is to speak up when others are too afraid to do so. That's duty and mas'uliyah. Responsibility, my sister, is about choosing your husband and choosing your family over being right every single time. And you, my brother, responsibility is about choosing your wife, choosing your kids, choosing your home over your friends when there is a tension and a conflict. Responsibility is joy. Responsibility is a pleasure. Responsibility is status. Time is wrapping up very quickly, and we haven't really finished much of what I want to say. Maybe I will say the following very quickly. Some of the causes of irresponsible behavior. What is it that brings about irresponsibility in people? Why are we like this? And I'm not labeling us as an irresponsible ummah. La wallahi. I'm not here in a position to lash the back of the ummah at a time of its weakness or kick it when it's down. No. Alhamdulillah, our ummah is on the ascendancy. And all it requires is guided leadership, insha'Allah ta'ala. And Allah will see the justice that we intend for this ummah and for our globe. No, this is not about bashing the ummah. What are the causes that can bring about irresponsible behavior so that we notice it and we try to avoid it? Number one, poor parenting. It really begins there. The worst thing that a parent can do for their children is to do everything for them. That decimates their sense of duty and responsibility and initiative taking when mom and dad cannot resist the urge to do everything for their children. When your son, my sister, is trying to pour his own milk in his cereal bowl, he's trying to pour his own milk in his cereal bowl, and you say, no, I'm going to do it for you. You've just chosen the cleanliness of your carpet over the idea of developing duty and responsibility in your child. If every time your child tries to break free from your hand as you're walking the road, there's no clear harm, there's no cause, you grab them, come back here. I can't let go of your hand. The child learns that I don't need to ever walk by myself in life. I don't need to think for myself because mom and dad will hold my hand for the rest of my life. Isn't it? If each and every time our children take an initiative and then they make a mistake, they break something, they damage something, and then we punish them for it, what does the child learn? The child learns initiative taking equals punishment. So to avoid punishment, I have to stop taking initiatives. I'll just do as I'm told. Many times we are responsible for castrating our boys. And we are responsible for weakening our daughters. Because we cannot resist the urge of doing everything for our children. When you are overly involved in your child's life and his decisions and her decisions, constantly breathing down their necks, controlling their every move, it breaks them. And we build statues from snow and we cry when we see them melt. Sometimes we are part of the problem that we are now blaming in their latter years because we mollycoddled and we didn't extend trust to them. Number one, poor parenting. Number two, low quality circle of friends. How will I be a responsible man or woman if the people around me are irresponsible and all they ever talk about is the price of the crypto and the stock price of this, and gold has gone up, and makeup tutorials and this song, and there's a time and place for investments and money. Hey, don't get me wrong, right? Everybody has to eat. But if you're around people who are only defined by dunya or something haram, how will I become an ummah-led person, a hereafter-centric person? Look at the people around you, and I will tell you exactly the man or the woman you are. And that applies to the online sphere as well, by the way. And maybe this is even more damaging than the effect of a real-life human being. Because I can only be friends with maybe 10, 15 people at the same time, like real friends. But I can follow maybe 1,000 people, I can follow 10,000 people. And my algorithm, therefore, is going to show me their content every single day. So if I have 2,000 people who I'm following, and at best, there's no Islamic meaning to these people. There's no depth to these people. It's just backsides, and it's dancing, and it's other types of useless tutorials. What's my feed going to show me? Their content. Low quality circle of friends is a key thing to remove ourselves from irresponsible thinking and behavior. Number 3, apathy. Apathy. What does apathy mean? Who knows? Carelessness. I don't care. I'm sorry, I just don't care. That's a cause for irresponsible behavior. Because internally, I feel carelessness. How does a person deal with this? Somebody else will carry out the duty. Yes, you're right. Somebody else will carry out the duty. But why not reword it and say, somebody else will take the ajr, the reward for it on the day of judgment. Somebody else will spare me the burden. I don't need to bother myself. You're right. Somebody else will spare you the burden today. But that person is sparing himself the burden on the day of judgment. So apathy, carelessness, that's another cause of irresponsible behavior. Number 4, despair. Al-yas. People, they say, there is no point of being a responsible man or woman. What's the point? Can't you see the situation of the ummah? Can't you see how the odds are stacked against us? Don't you see the money they have and the bombs they're dropping on us? Despair. I don't want to be responsible. And you know what? Here's a cup of Coke that I'm going to drink as well. There's Palestinians who do this. Some of our own nearest and dearest who think in this way. It's understandable. When you see this onslaught, what is the point? What am I going to add? The problem with this type of thinking, my brothers, my sisters, is that it sees the world in days and weeks. And so if you don't see what you want within those days and weeks of activism, you assume Allah has abandoned you. No. The antidote for this is to see the world in generations. See the world as centuries. And I'm just a cog, I'm just a piece within a much bigger machine. And Allah will manage the universe, and I am responsible for the process. Don't measure the world in days and years. So if you don't see the fruits of your labor today, you assume Allah has abandoned us. La, see the world as generations, as centuries. And I'm part of the process. And the reason why we are activists for Gaza, why we speak out against genocide, why we want to dismantle dhulm, is not just to see it happening in our lifetimes. It's to save our necks on Yawm al-Qiyamah from the musa'ala, the question. Irrespective of you die in the process, before or after, it doesn't matter. If Allah Almighty gives you His rida, His pleasure, because of your duty that you carry out, then you've succeeded. Even if you're killed in the process. And that's why Ka'b ibn Malik, who was an advocate of the Prophet ﷺ, and one of his companions, he's uttered a single couplet of poetry in defense of the Prophet ﷺ. And Allah Almighty acknowledged him for it. Allahu Akbar. Right? What did he say? He said, زعمت سخينة أن ستغلب ربها ولا يغلبن مغالب الغلاب. He said, Quraysh, Sakhina. Sakhina, it's a type of food that the people of Quraysh, they used to eat, made of milk and dates. So when people wanted to insult Quraysh, they'd call them Sakhina by the meal that they eat. So he said, Sakhina is claiming that they're going to conquer Allah. He said, but Allah, the conqueror, will always conquer those who try conquering Him. That's it. Full stop. What is that, like a tweet nowadays? 100-character tweet? A 50-character tweet? Prophet ﷺ calls Ka'b ibn Malik. Were you the one who said, زَعَمَتْ سَخِينَةُ أَنْ سَتَغْلِبُ رَبَّهَا? Did you utter that couplet of poetry? He said, yes, a messenger of Allah. He said, I just wanted to let you know that Allah Almighty appreciated what you said. La ilaha illallah. It caught the attention of the king himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khalas. So what more do you want? So if you do something for Palestine or any other cause of justice that's out there, and Allah appreciates it, then what is it to you what happens thereafter? Allah, watch me as I do my best. Allah, watch me as I sacrifice. I want you to take note of this, irrespective of what happens, and irrespective if it makes a difference in the grand scheme of things. That's how the responsible man and woman thinks. These are 4 reasons that underpin irresponsible behavior, and therefore the opposite, I think, is what is needed in order to create responsible men and women. Unfortunately, we've run out. I've given myself an hour and I don't want to go over it. But one thing I will say, maybe we will leave with this, is that as parents, extend trust to your children. Give them responsibility. Give them tasks. I know of a construction builder who gave his 13-year-old son the task of overseeing the building of an apartment, a block of apartments. 13-year-olds. He said, Baba, you go and manage the builders and the laborers. Go and do the tendering. It's your job. That's how you build responsible men. When you come to pay your bills, for example, at the end of each month, why not allocate a portion of your income in the house to your daughters? Because we need strong daughters, especially in an environment where everyone is pulling them aside left, right, and center, strong upon their Islamic identity. Allocate a portion of the income, for example, to give them a sense of responsibility and duty to manage life thereafter. And say, look, we have electricity, we have water, we have bills, we have shopping. Divide it, please. Make sure there's enough for us to eat at the end of the month. Some real skills that she can benefit from, and her husband will also be very grateful to you later on down the line. When you go shopping, bring your son with you. Don't just let him sit at home watching Horrid Henry. Bring him with you. Baba, this is a good apple. This is a rotten apple. This is how you pack the bags. This is how you pay. This is how you shop. Let him go and shop. Let him go and do the shopping himself one day. Let him get scammed. Inshallah, he gets scammed. Inshallah. Why? Because he will learn skills. Learn how to become a shrewd buyer, a shrewd consumer. When your car breaks down, don't just allow him to sit at the back of the car twiddling his thumbs on his phone. No, come and see what's under the bonnet. This is a dipstick. This is a brake pad here. This is a tire, this is an engine. This is how you check the levels of the oil. This is where we put the water in. Teach them, give them responsibility. The greatest punishment that a parent could inflict upon his or her child is when you do everything for them. It's the ultimate castration of a child. And that's why, and I recently finished writing a master's on leadership, I came to find that leadership is most potent and prevalent amidst which sector of society? Take a guess. Orphans. They exemplify the greatest leadership skills. Why? Because they never had a parent breathing down their neck. Now that isn't to say Allah make us orphans, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. May Allah preserve our parents. When parents play the right role, they are the true developers of leaders and responsibility. But I mean when they don't, they are the stumbling block to progress. And we don't want to be that man. Give space. My sister, my brother, give space to the children. Allow them to make mistakes. Delegate trust. Give them responsibility. And I remember asking my shaykh, I said, Shaykh, subhanallah, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ teaches us everything, even how to wash ourselves from the bathroom. But it doesn't seem to give us a lot of guidance about how to behave with those young adolescent men and women when they're hitting their 11, 12, 13 years old. There doesn't seem to be much guidance about how to behave, and it's such a difficult time. He said, you know why, Ali? I said, why? He said, because the Sharia didn't deal with this age by speaking, it dealt with this age by doing. The moment those young companions hit that age where now there's special feelings now going through your veins. And the opposite gender now is all of a sudden attractive. Prophet ﷺ says, Ta'al, Habibi, come here. I have a task for you. Go and learn the language of the Jews. Go and give Islam there in Medina, in Yathrib. Go and lead an army, O Usama. Go and learn how to write. Go and memorize Quran. He gave them huge tasks. He gave them responsibility so that they were too busy to be slowed down by hormones and haram. Give responsibility. Delegate tasks to your children. Brothers and sisters, responsibility is a joy. Responsibility is a pleasure. It's not just a duty that sits on our backs. It's really one of the happy aspects of life. And the greatest burden in life is when you have no burden to carry. Wallahi, the greatest challenge in life is when you have no challenge to solve. The greatest pain is when you're only looking at your own pain and not the pain of others. Status, responsibility is status. So much talk about the difference between a human being and an animal. The difference is responsibility. A man, a human being, is responsible. An animal is not. So much talk about the difference between a boy and a man. What is the masculine? A man is a responsible human being. That's it. And here's the irony of it all. There is no escaping responsibility. Even if you think that you can escape it by just being a bum at home, gaming all day. I don't need to make decisions. It's true. Maybe you don't need to make decisions now, but soon enough decisions will be made about you, upon you, and for you. There's no escaping it. And there's only one of two circumstances in life where you will no longer be required to be a person of duty and responsibility. That's if you lose your sanity. May Allah protect you. Nobody will ask you to be responsible then. Or if you lose your life, then the pen is lifted. Up until that happens, one of those two fates, the mantle of duty rests firmly on our shoulders and our necks. And inshallah, we are the men and women to shoulder it. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين.